Morning, Adam. How are you?
I'm great. Good morning.
We were just talking movies. We were talking about Wicked, about Zootopia 2. I'm sure your kiddos are excited for one or two of those films, probably.
Yeah, I'm excited for both, and it's always good to have some good movies coming out again. I feel like it's been a while since we've had some good movies in theaters. So I'm not a theater person. I'd rather watch it in my own comfort of my house. But I know Meat Sauce would love to put on some pajamas and bring a blanket to the theater and check that out.
That's
Thanksgiving.
You got to check out Alamo Drafthouse Cinema, man. Right, it's in Woodbury, right up the road. Awesome spot. It is like watching it in your basement. They bring you food and snacks. Can't beat it, man.
I do love that place. We go there every once in a while. The kids love the movie theater, so they forced me to get out of the house and go to the theater every once in a while. But yeah, that's a great spot. What a cool spot. I thought we were going to lose it there for a minute, but it sounds like it's back and good.
Well, not an option in Green Bay because Wisconsin does not have movie theaters. There's not a lot to do in Green Bay, Wisconsin, but that's okay. You're only there for like 24 hours anyway, so no big deal this weekend. Just in and out. I didn't really have a question. I just wanted to rip. I just wanted to rip Green Bay. I didn't expect you to pile on.
A lot of his family's from Wisconsin, so he's got to be careful.
Same with mine. That's why I rip. Anyway,
I wasn't sure if you cut out or what happened there.
No, that was just the end of my sentence.
Hey, Adam, of all the times you've played at Lambeau, what's your favorite Lambeau memory?
Good question.
Great question.
Well, my first,
Thank you.
I believe my first NFL catch was in Lambeau, so that was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Is that what you were looking for, Sauce, or not?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like him to catch some footballs on Sunday?
One of my coaches actually, back in the day, gifted me for Christmas the picture of my first catch, and it was obviously in Lambeau and Green Bay Packer player in it, which was absolutely perfect. I almost re-gifted it to my father-in-law because he's a huge Packer fan, just to show him, that we're better than the Packers.
Well said.
Yeah. And how do you feel about going in this weekend? What are we up against as far as their defensive backfield goes in Green Bay?
Yeah, obviously excited to get back there to Lambeau. Such a special place and such a great atmosphere. Obviously the Viking-Packer rivalry and just this week in general is just such a fun week. I remember so many memories, obviously, going back to as a little kid. The Monday after the game, everybody showing up with their jerseys on, depending on who won, and have some bragging rights for the week. So a lot of memories and excited to get back there. This defense is a really good defense, so a great challenge for us, especially in the back end, a secondary that's really good. Maybe not a lot of big names. But just a group that's physical. They're fast. They can kind of do everything. So it'd be a great challenge for us, and we always look forward to matchups like that. It kind of makes you prepare a little harder. You watch some of the tape and you realize, all right, I gotta bring it this week. You see some of these safeties coming downhill, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna have to put the big boy pads on this week and get ready to hit somebody.
Adam, when you have a quarterback that's young and trying to figure it out and is struggling, how do you know as a leader and as a veteran when to give him a pep talk and pat him on the back and say, we all have your back? And how do you know when to just leave him alone and let him be? How do you have to judge that fine line?
Yeah, I think it really just goes off of, letting it be natural, right? If there is a situation that comes up and you feel like you can have a one-on-one conversation and it's just you two, I think those kind of naturally happen. And I've always kind of felt that way, that you build these relationships first so that you can have those natural conversations and it doesn't have to be forced. And, he's a lot of athletes. I'd say 99% of athletes, especially at this level, they're harder on themselves than anyone else is on them. So, he already knows, what he feels that he needs to be better at and how he can be better. And me personally, I know how I could get better. Right when you do something as an athlete, you kind of like, all right, I could have done a lot better there, and this is how we're going to fix it. So I say that all to say that sometimes there doesn't need to be a whole lot to be said because he knows it before we even say anything. But, just a lot of great conversations about about just experience, really, just things that I've seen in the past with different guys or personally, and just trying to share those experiences.
Well, and let me ask you about that, because I'm not going to pretend I know a lot about what's going on in Carolina with the Panthers, but that young quarterback, Bryce Young, did they not kind of make him take a step back at one point? And now he's obviously he's caught up and he's doing really well. There's been injuries, and they're 6-5 right now, competing for that division. But a lot of people had already written him off and said he couldn't do it in this league. And right now he's starting to succeed in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it firsthand, just that progression. You know, I think, like you said, there was a time where there was a lot of talk about him being a huge bust, right? One of the biggest busts in the NFL. And then now it's like, man, he's playing pretty well. I think he just set the record for most passing yards in Carolina Panthers history in a game. So yeah, it's a progression, right? Not everyone just comes into the NFL first year and just blows it up, especially at the quarterback position. You look at a lot of guys in NFL history who have been pretty dang good quarterbacks, and I think a few of them are in the Hall of Fame, didn't have great first years as a starter. So I think it's just one of those positions that you just need a little bit of time. I was able to talk to them a little bit and just talking about, you know, you some of these throws that you make in a game, or I look back at my career, and there's so many times that you run a route and you're like, man, like I could have, you know, you look back at it, you're like, man, I could have done this or that. And the next time you get that route, like, you remember very clearly, like, oh, I remember when I ran that route and I did this, I should have done this. And then you go out and you execute it, and you have that experience to draw from. Well, he doesn't have those experiences to draw from yet. And so I think it's a really exciting thing for him that he now is starting to have some of those experiences where he can look back at it and be like, all right, I remember when we ran this play last time, and I should have done this. So, boom, he does it and has a lot of success. So that's just kind of the progression it takes to have success in this league.
Hey, Adam, Micah Parsons leads the league in pressures from an offensive, like, weapon standpoint, you guys as the wide receivers and the tight ends. How do you work into kind of chipping him and moving him off of his spot?
Without getting a penalty that's going to get you in trouble with the referees.
Without that, yeah. Your fanboy comment was outstanding, by the way.
Hey, speaking of that, I did hear a couple of coaches came up to me yesterday and said, hey, by the way, the league came back and said that was not a penalty. So
right.
It doesn't do us much good 2 weeks later.
Wow.
But I guess they said it wasn't a penalty. So,
well, you should
but
send
anyways,
that guy
yeah,
a Patrick Mahomes jersey.
I think it's important that it's all hands on deck when you play some of the best players in the NFL, guys that can really be game wreckers. It's all hands on deck. It's whatever it takes. You know, sometimes you're not going to be running a route as a receiver. You're going to be chip blocking, and you're going to be in protection. And sometimes it's a tight end, sometimes it's a running back, sometimes we just got to lean on those old linemen that we feel really strongly about on the edges, to just be able to handle it themselves. But yeah, it's all hands on deck, and it's only going to help the team have success. So, that's what you got to do.
Speaking of frustration, we've seen one of your best buddies on the team, Justin Jefferson, have a little frustration. How do you, as a leader, as they've asked you about McCarthy, but how do you talk to the best player on the team about frustration?
Yeah, well, if I could evaluate that, as far as Justin's frustration, I would say he's done a heck of a job, to be honest. I think he's done a really good job of just being in the moment. It's tough when you're the guy and he knows what he can do and make a difference, especially if he gets the right coverages, right? If they play him true, just normal defense, like, that guy is unbelievable. And so for him to be able to take on, teams that are just putting 3, 4, 6 eyes on him, it's tough and it gets frustrating, and I think he's handled it really well. But yeah, I think there's times that we all kind of let our frustration get to us, and it boils over a little bit. But yeah, I haven't said much to him because I think he's done a heck of a job just handling that, especially as such a competitor and one of the best football players in the league. And I think he's done a really good job, and he does a really good job communicating when he's very accountable, I should say. He doesn't let that stuff just, just mosey over or sweep it under the rug. He addresses it. He talks about it and says, I could do better, and moves on. So we really appreciate that, and that's why he's got a C on his chest.
All right, good luck on Sunday with the Thanksgiving holiday next week. I don't know if we're going to talk to you in a week or 2 weeks, but either way, good luck on Sunday. We'll talk to you pretty soon. Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Adam Thielen.
There he goes. Thanks to our friends at ETS Performance and the Thielen Foundation. That, ladies and gentlemen, was Adam Thielen.